Another clean shirt ought to see us all out. It's As the World Burns. Today we're going to be discussing the crazy road that we're on and, everything that's going on in the world right now. It's a pretty crazy time, you know, everything that's been happening. We haven't really talked about it in the last, say, month, but it's been a wild month. Um, So here's some stuff that's going on right as of right now. Ukraine confirms that the U.S. is now protecting Putin's oil and energy assets. China tells its citizens in Israel to leave as soon as possible. U.S. tells allies it won't join war unless Iran targets Americans. It looks like a U.S. citizen was killed in the Russian strikes on Kiev, Ukrainian officials say. Iran apparently wanted to kill Trump and plotted an assassination, Netanyahu claims. And Russia to demand Ukraine destroy Western weapons to end war, senior Kremlin official says. Another thing that I haven't seen on this yet, but is also a thing that I heard, is that Putin is telling Iran to give them basically all of their like plutonium or whatever, just because like it's inevitable that like it's going to be like, I guess fall, so to speak. Iran asked Gulf states to mediate for ceasefire with Israel, and Iran ready to abandon enrichment but needs a face-saving exit, Iranian diplomat says. Netanyahu tells ABC he's not ruling out taking out the supreme leader. It's fucking crazy. Crazy to like be in this world. Trump says it's possible the U.S. gets involved in the Israel-Iran conflict. And what that's leading to is the
It's kind of
idea.
crazy that there's a place that has a supreme leader.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's yeah. I mean, and he's been like supreme leader since like the '70s or something like that. So I guess who knows? It's kind of crazy that we're in this situation where we have to start questioning everything. But we're getting to a point where we have to start, I guess trying to take a hard look at what's happening.
Yeah, really dive into some hard truths.
You really dive into some hard truths.
When I hear the word Ayatollah, it sounds
Sounds
like
crazy.
something. Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds wild.
sounds like something I should be worried about.
Yeah, what does the Ayatollah mean?
I have no idea. That's what I'm saying. It just sounds has different effects by the way it sounds, and I have no idea the real meaning of the word.
So the Ayatollah is the Romanized Persian of Ayatollah, is an honorific title for high-ranking Twelver Shia clergy. Came into widespread usage in the 20th century. Interesting. A Shiite religious leader in Iran. It's crazy though because what's going on. But basically Trump was saying that the US isn't going to enter into this unless there's some kind of like conflict or something like that's happening. And then Anonymous just came out and says they are releasing secret files revealing an upcoming false flag attempt to drag us into war. It really makes you like wonder about like everything that like Trump's been saying and everybody's been saying really the last few days and the last week. If this happens, then I guess we'll see something like this coming, so to speak. It's kind of crazy. We're truly living in incredibly crazy times. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Any news on flying cars?
Any news on flying cars? Honestly, I was thinking maybe we should look at like we haven't looked at any like crazy like mysterious green alien on North Wales beach that can eat victims 3 times its own body length. What the fuck is that? Must be like a fish or something.
What's up with that dome you sent me?
Oh
What's
yeah.
up with that dome?
Yeah, we should look into that. That's crazy. Apparently there's a dome, where is it? The South Pacific? A mysterious 2-mile wide dome slithers in the Pacific Ocean. Conspiracy theorists speculate over strange snake-like movements of an unknown structure in the northern Pacific Ocean. Now, if anybody, if you want to check it out, it's This is gonna be this might be crazy to some people or like just a lot of nonsense, but it's 49 degrees 50, 43.0 degrees north, 140 degrees 13, 21.0 west. So I guess that's the coordinates for this thing. If you want to look it up on Google, it's pretty nuts. It's like it's it looks literally like a giant dome just like going underwater, moving around. It says something strange is lurking off the seafloor off the coast of Washington, or you could just find it off the coast of Washington. Deep in the Pacific Ocean, a dome-shaped object has been spotted on Google Earth. The unknown entity is an estimated 2 miles wide, appears circular in shape, and it's moving, leaving behind a snake-like trail. Conspiracy theorists are obsessively online individuals. Conspiracy theorists and obsessively online individuals have jumped on the case, exposing the mystery, speculating wildly as to what it might be: aliens, Godzilla, and following its movements. It's pretty fucking crazy. It's literally just this giant dome.
It'd be scary if it's just a giant bug.
It'd be scary. Well, you know what I was thinking about? Have you ever heard about like underwater stones that just move like because of their current or whatever, like the current
Yeah.
underwater just pushes the stones? What if this is just a giant rock that's just moving with the current like that?
Doesn't the picture show that it's like perfectly circular?
Not really. I mean, it's not perfect. It looks oblong. It looks like it's slightly yeah, let me put this up real quick. I might also post this on when we're talking about this and so people can see it. It doesn't look perfectly, you know.
Looks
What I think is interesting is it almost looks like there's a bigger trail is next to it that looks like something was dragging along the ocean floor where like in its path. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You see the
Yeah, what is
indentations that
that?
like almost go like
It's
perfectly
like a
like
perfectly straight
straight.
line.
Yeah, I don't know. That to me is very odd. I don't know. It's a weird little thing. Or it's a weird big thing actually. A 2 mile wide dome.
You should all be scared, folks.
Yeah, you should all be scared of specifically the 2 mile wide dome. Forget about the nuclear war we might be heading towards and just think about how crazy it is. There's a 2 mile wide dome underwater. Did you see there was a video during the oh yeah, there's LA riots going on too for anyone curious. During the beginning of the LA riots that are currently happening, I think still, and they were talking about arresting the governor of California and the mayor of LA. Anyways, during those riots, supposedly like somebody caught on a door cam like a gray alien looking thing like walking past the door cam, which was kind of nuts. I thought that was like kind of like a crazy thing. But like what if aliens are showing up now?
Did you
Like what
send that to
if
me?
did I send it to you? It
I'm
was on
asking.
I no, I don't think so. I saw it I think I saw it on Seconds of Horror actually. It was pretty weird though. It was pretty odd. And it was in Compton, I think. Yeah, it was just weird. And but what if like that's happening right now? What if it's not Project Bluebeam, but what if like everything that people were saying about like the aliens coming when like supposedly the end of the world is like nigh and like we're so close to like crazy shit happening on the earth that like things are suddenly revealing themselves a lot more. I think it would be remiss to not think that something weird is happening out there beyond what's currently visible to our reality across the entire planet Earth, not just in like a end of the world kind of sense, but like almost a spiritual like awakening. Like we've talked about that, like the Age of Aquarius thing.
I've thought for a while now that 12 years now. I've thought for like the last like at least 10 years that things are getting wackier and wackier. But like
Oh, 100%. But
it felt like supernatural stuff has been happening more and more.
well, that's what I mean. Like just in the last like, uh, I don't even want to say last year, but probably the last year, things have just ramped up so much. Like you said, like yeah, things over the last 10 years have been like crazy. But just in the last year, we've experienced so many weird things in our reality, so many like glitches in the matrix and things that are just, tugging into a just very weird direction. It's crazy. This would be kind of an interesting one. Something beneath Antarctica and it's emitting radio waves. Something's beneath Antarctica and it's emitting radio waves.
Maybe it's a rock.
Maybe it's a rock. Maybe it's the rock. Can you hear what the rock is cooking? Something is sending signals through the ice in Antarctica, not from the sky, but from below. The first detections came from a balloon experiment drifting high above the continent, known as the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, or ANITA. This NASA-funded mission was designed to capture fleeting radio pulses from the cosmic particles hitting the ice. What it found instead shook the project team. Bursts of radio waves were rising through the frozen surface, traveling upward at steep angles. They weren't bouncing off the ground, they were coming from under it. The pulses were powerful and precise. In two separate flights, ANITA 1 and ANITA 3, these signals perceived through the quiet, remote skies of Antarctica. They bore no resemblance to the thousands of cosmic ray interactions the system was built to monitor. Most of those are reflected, predictable, and arrive from above. But these didn't follow the rules. They lacked the polarity inversion expected from surface reflections, and they struck the antenna from below the horizon, suggesting a deep origin. That's crazy. It didn't match any known neutrinos or cosmic rays that anything that known neutrinos or cosmic rays could explain.
Do you think it's the underground Nazi base?
Hey, maybe. It could be aliens just chilling in Antarctica, just trying to, like sending what is it supposed to be? Was it supposed to be a pulse? Across the planet, the ice turned to find signs of high energy. One saw it, nothing could explain it. Two others with higher found nothing. The study lays out this. I don't know. I wonder if this is like a what do they call it? A distress signal? I don't know. That's weird. That's a weird one. What's going on? What's going on in Antarctica? Is it the Nazis? Is it aliens? What's going on? Scientists are redefining time itself, starting with the second. Whoa, are we gonna have more than a second? Did you know a jiffy is actually a measurement of time?
I feel like I've heard that before.
I might have even
What's the thing
told
you just
you.
said before that?
Scientists are redefining time itself, starting with the second.
Yeah, well, want to go a little further into that?
Switching to optical clocks would have cascading ripple effects, from meteorology to basic physics. Scientists have taken a major step towards the ambitious global goal of redefining the second by the end of this decade. A study published this week details how researchers from 6 different countries simultaneously compared measurements from 10 optical clocks, an advanced form of timekeeping that is up to 100 times more accurate than the best cesium clocks, which are currently used as the global standard. The measurements amount to the largest coordinated comparison of optical clocks to date and significantly reduce the uncertainty between the measurements reported in previous studies. This also means that optical clocks are closer than ever to becoming the new standard for timekeeping, a shift that could have a massive ripple effect on everything from meteorology to our understanding of fundamental physics. The fuck is all this saying? What are optical clocks? In a nutshell, optical clocks are incredibly accurate instruments that measure the frequency of atoms after they've been excited by lasers. The atoms are first cooled to near absolute zero, then lasers are used to detect their vibrations. Those vibrations are called frequency ratios. This precise frequency then corresponds to the tick of a second. Scientists believe this method yields far more accurate results than the cesium atomic clocks, which have been the global standard for the past 5 decades. For context, researchers say an optical clock would not gain or lose a second for billions of years. In fact, New Scientist estimates you could weight the current age of the universe 4 times over, and an optical clock would still be off by less than a minute. Compared that to a typical wristwatch, which can drift over just a few months. That's crazy. This is crazy. Like, fascinating. Optical clocks are incredibly precise, but they are also highly complex. There are just around 100 of them in existence worldwide, largely because they are difficult to build, operate, and maintain. Well, yeah, if you have like an atomic like clock in your house or whatever it is, it's kind of crazy. They're also susceptible to breakage. Comparing them against each other is notoriously challenging. Different clocks measure the frequency of different times of atoms, each with its own unique frequency. This means the only way to establish a consistent, highly precise standard is to directly compare the clocks with one another. That's where these most recent findings come in. Researchers from Finland, France, Germany, Italy, the UK, and Japan collaborated on a European-led project called ROCIT to compare, or Rocket, I guess, to compare 10 different clocks. The measurements were conducted over a 45-day period in 2022. In the past, smaller-scale optical clock comparisons relied on satellite links to measure differences, but this study used both satellite links and fiber optic cables. That's important because it allows for more accurate measurements. Comparing multiple clocks at the same time and using more than one type of link technology provides far more information than mostly pairwise clock comparisons that have been carried out to date. VTT Mike's Meteorology Research Center senior scientist Thomas Linval said in a statement. It's quite a title. The fiber optic cables span thousands of miles across Europe, allowing researchers to connect the frequency outputs of the various clocks. They accounted for signal noise and other limitations of the instruments during the process. In total, the comparison produced 38 different frequency ratios, measured simultaneously 4 of them for the first time. The remaining ratios were measured with greater accuracy than ever before, according to the researchers. These measurements provide critical information about what work is still needed for optical clocks to achieve the precise and reliability required for use in international timekeeping. Istituto Nazionale di Ricerca Metrologica. Senior researcher Marco Pizzo Caro said in a statement. I guess I'm not good with those Italian names. Our experiment also showed how optical clocks across Europe can be linked to measure frequency ratios with state-of-the-art precision. Although more comparisons are needed before more optical clocks can officially become the global standard, researchers are optimistic about the future. The benefits go beyond just improved timekeeping. More precise measurements could help scientists test Albert Einstein's theory of relativity with greater accuracy and offer new insights into the still mysterious concept of dark matter. So these clocks will figure out dark matter and test Einstein's relativity. That's cool. At the same time, scientists are also making headway on entirely new nuclear clocks that might make opticals look like relics. Whoa. Last year, the National Institute of Standards and Technology said they were close to completing a nuclear clock prototype that focuses on vibrations, not from a single atom, but from a single nucleus. Imagine a wristwatch that wouldn't lose a second, even if you left it running for billions of years. That's crazy. NIST and JILA scientist Junyu Ye said last year following the news of the prototype, while we're not quite there yet, this research brings us closer to that level of precision. Big Rolex and big Timex are like, all right, we can't have these guys doing this. We got to come in here. We got to take care of these nuclear scientists. We can't have anybody figuring out a watch that never breaks. Never loses time. Oh, this was an interesting one. NASA's Voyager spacecraft found a wall at the edge of our solar system. Fun.
Is it a real wall? I read that too, but I feel like they're just going to tell you it's a wall of
It was probably a wall of
debris.
radiation or something,
It's a
right?
wall of radiation. It's a wall of.
All right, let's save the
It's a wall
listeners some time.
of void.
Found a 30,000 to 50,000 Kelvin wall at the edge of our solar system. Temperatures there reach an astonishing 30,000 to 50,000 Kelvin. That's pretty crazy.
I think maybe outside of each solar system, the radiation from the universe is too intense.
That's probably honestly it, because that would make total sense.
Like there's something about a solar system that actually kind of like.
Because why would
Makes
it be
things more
so
bearable.
hot? Like, especially so far away from the sun, why would it be that hot? Doesn't make sense.
Because not just stars make heat, maybe, or maybe that like I don't know. Well, maybe just like the light from other stars. I don't know. From other
Hmm.
faraway galaxies are more intense. I would assume though it's that like there's a radiation of some kind outside of solar systems, like how like our Earth has an atmosphere, and then there's space. Then there's like
Yeah.
space that we know is actually within a solar system, but then outside of the solar system.
Is the Kelvin wall.
Yeah, or maybe it's not a wall, but that's just like the state of things outside of it. It's a wall to us because we're inside of it.
Well,
But
yeah,
and
it's
if
like
you go
walking
outside,
into a wall of heat when you walk outside.
yeah,
It just like hits you like you're walking technically just into a different climate, but it hits you like you're walking into a physical wall because it's like so intensely different from what you're used to. What else do we got here? U.S. aircraft warships headed to the Middle East amid Israel-Iran conflict. I don't know if we mentioned that earlier. We probably did. They're putting the USS Nimitz into commission, I think, one last time for deployment. And it's funny because it was supposed to be decommissioned in a year, but it's being sent to the Middle East right now as we speak. So that makes you kind of think a little bit. Are they planning on just getting rid of this thing? And you know, who knows? I don't know.
remind me what that is.
It's a really famous warship,
That did what?
and I forgot actually. USS Nimitz carrier strike group sailing toward Middle East ahead of schedule. It's an aircraft carrier of the U.S. Navy and the lead ship of her class, one of the largest warships in the world. She was laid down, launched, and commissioned as C-VAN 68 aircraft carrier attack, nuclear powered. Whoa, but she was later, well, most of them are nuclear powered, so that's not that whoa. Aircraft carrier, multi-mission, nuclear powered. It just keeps repeating that. As part of a fleet-wide realignment that year, the ship was named after World War II Pacific Fleet Commander Chester W. Nimitz, who was the Navy's third fleet admiral. He's the only Nimitz-class carrier. I guess it's just famous because it's like one of the largest ones in the world, one of the largest warships in the world.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's
I've heard
interesting.
of it before, though. I feel like
Yeah, well,
maybe I've heard
it's a
of the
famous
guy.
one. Well, it is a famous ship though in general. But it's weird that they're sending it out there, even though it's going to be decommissioned. It makes you like wonder if they're just like sending it out there, like Task Force X in DC Comics. If you catch my drift,
What if there's just a nuke on it?
I don't know about that. It's nuclear powered, so that just essentially just means that it runs on nuclear energy. But a lot of those things, like submarines and a lot of those warships, run on nuclear energy.
But like, what if, like, what if it's there to like detonate?
I mean, maybe there is, but who knows? Putin offers to take Iran's uranium. That's pretty nuts.
Take their uranium? Why would they
Yeah,
want that?
Russian leader reiterated his proposal as the Kremlin said he was also willing to act as a mediator in the conflict between Israel and Iran. If Putin is allies with Iran and so to speak, Iran is about to be like invaded and might be decimated by by these forces,
Oh, so like,
then
hold on to my stash for me because I'm about to get raided.
exactly. Vladimir Putin is willing to store uranium from Iran's nuclear program in Russia, the Kremlin said on Monday, adding that Moscow was ready to act as a mediator in the conflict between Israel and Iran. On Monday, Russia said its offer to take the uranium from its ally was still on the table, having first made the proposal earlier this year. Iran, meanwhile, warned that it was preparing to leave the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, raising fresh fears over its nuclear program. Israel has hit several of Tehran's nuclear sites in recent days in a series of strikes aimed at preventing Iran from building a nuclear weapon, which Israel says would be an existential threat. This proposal remains on the table. It remains relevant, said Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesperson of the offer. But of course, with the outbreak of hostilities, the situation has become seriously complicated. The EU said that Russia had zero credibility as a potential mediator in the conflict, after Donald Trump, the US president, also suggested Putin could play a role. That's funny. It came as Esmail Baghai, Iran's foreign ministry spokesman, said on Monday that Tehran was opposed to developing weapons, we'll say WMDs, in a bid to quell fears that it was trying to build a nuclear bomb. But he added that the Iranian parliament was preparing a bill to quit the disarmament treaty as fighting raged with Israel for a fourth day. On Monday, Tehran urged Britain, France, and Germany to pressure Netanyahu to stop the attacks on Iran as Israel claimed it had achieved aerial superiority over Tehran. Germany, France, and England should have very clearly condemned the Zionist regime's crimes, especially against the Natanz nuclear facility, said Bakai. He added that European powers should focus on stopping the aggression and holding Israel accountable before G7 leaders met in Canada. met in the Canada for a meeting set to be overshadowed by the crisis in the Middle East. Just so everyone listening knows, I've been smoking and drinking tonight, so if this is all fucked up, it's on me.
Doing a little smoking, doing a little drinking.
Doing a little smoking and a little bit of drinking. Just one beer and multiple blunts, but you guys know how it is. The White House wants Israel's actions to be limited to degrading...
straight edge.
Yeah, he's totally straight right now. To degrading Iran's nuclear weapons program and does not want a wider regional war. Rafael Grossi, the chief of International Atomic Energy Agency, the UN's nuclear watchdog, said there was no sign of further damage at the Natanz or Fordow nuclear enrichment sites on Monday after Israel's latest military strikes. If I'm not mistaken, too, the Fordow nuclear enrichment site is like one of the most heavily fortified sites in the entire planet, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's like it's like that really deep underground like site that like Iran like keeps like, you know, deep underground.
We all got those.
Yeah, we all got those, the dumb bases. The agency is and will remain present in Iran. Safeguards inspections in Iran will continue as soon as safety conditions allow, as is required under Iran's NPT safeguard obligations, he said. But he warned that the military escalation had delayed indispensable work towards a diplomatic solution to assure the international community that Iran was not trying to obtain a nuclear bomb. Earlier, Iran had urged to condemn Israeli attacks on nuclear sites in the Islamic Republic. It comes after Iran refused to allow the UN to inspect damaged nuclear enrichment sites in retaliation for failing to issue a stronger rebuke against Israel for its attacks. Iran will also no longer inform the IAEA of new special measures to safeguard its nuclear materials and equipment, an official said. We will definitely not let the IAEA know about these measures as a result of the regime's attacks, said Kazim Garibabadi, Iran's deputy foreign minister. In a televised interview, they are only measures to protect our nuclear sites and their materials. It does not make sense that the IAEA remains silent while our sites are attacked, and for the agency to then expect to carry on its inspections as before, and for its inspectors to freely come and go. Iran's cooperation with the IAEA was one of the rare windows that could provide insight into the extent of the Islamic Republic's nuclear program. Iran's reported push for an atomic bomb is part of a new and daunting arms race taking form, according to a new report from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. The era of reductions in the number of nuclear weapons in the world, which had lasted since the end of the Cold War, is coming to an end, said Hans M. Christensen, Associate Senior Fellow at CPRI. Instead, we see a clear trend of growing nuclear arsenals, sharpened nuclear rhetoric, and the abandonment of arms control agreements. Among the total global inventory of approximately 12,241 warheads, holy shit, about 9,614 are in military stockpiles for potential use. Just over 3,910 were deployed with missiles and aircraft, and the rest are in storage. While Russia and the U.S. together possess around 90% of all nuclear weapons, China's nuclear arsenal is growing faster than any other countries, the report finds. Wow. That's crazy. So, yeah, everyone, just keep in mind we could be heading to nuclear Armageddon. You know, Armageddon out of here is what the aliens are probably fucking trying to say right now.
Arma gotta get the fuck out of here.
Armageddon the fuck out of here. Let's. Oh man, all these UFOs that you see in the sky right now, everybody, the aliens being like, "Peace the fuck out, humanity. We are calling it. You guys had a good run. Good luck with all your bullshit."
No.
Yeah, no, they might take a few of us on the ride with them, honestly. If you're cool enough and you have high enough of a spiritual like ascension, they might think about taking you. You just have to like channel them hard enough. But that's really what you have to spend the rest of your days doing because there ain't much, time left. So try like hell.
So says you.
Hey, we'll see what happens. Macron visits Greenland and criticizes Trump's threats to take it over. Fun. Israel strikes Iranian state TV studio during live broadcast. That's crazy. That's a wild statement. U.S. and European officials told the Japanese parliament that President Trump is expected to make a last chance offer to Iran. European Union leaders say Canada will sign a defense procurement pact this month. A lot of people are talking about how the Israeli defense dome hasn't been working too well too. That's been like a big thing over the past few days. They've been talking about how it hasn't been like working out too well, which is kind of crazy.
They don't have a golden dome.
They do. They have the Iron Dome, the original like Iron Dome, but it's apparently it works some of the time, but it's not working a lot of the time. So the G7, this is brand new news as of like 18 minutes ago. The G7 issues statement, we have been consistently clear that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. Statement also reiterates support for security of Israel, affirming its right to defend itself. All right, so you heard it here first. The G7 issued the statement, and let's see how this all goes.
G7's with Israel.
Yeah, isn't the G7 is like a UN thing, right? It's like or is that an environmental summit? Let's see. The G7 leaders attend a working session at the 2024 Italian G7 summit. What is the G7? The G7 is an intergovernmental political and economic forum consisting of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the United States. Additionally, the European Union is a non-enumerated member. It is organized around the shared values of pluralism, liberal democracy, and representative government. G7 members are major IMF advanced economies. So that's one thing that a lot of these groups have in common is they're all like IMF shills, basically, no pun intended. Coal India to reopen 32 mines, launch new projects. Israel furious as France shuts weapons stands at Paris Air Show. Here's a big one we haven't talked about is that a lot of the French dock workers that were shipping off weapons and guns to Israel like made like conscientious objections to it, which was kind of interesting. It's been crazy. Been a crazy, crazy world. Who knows what'll happen? Hopefully, we all pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and we pull through this. That's all I have to say. But what I would do if I was all of you is get spiritually right with the universe, regardless of what happened. Right? I think that's good advice.
I think that's always good advice.
Exactly, exactly. And who knows, maybe the idea that if humanity gets more spiritually in tune with itself, maybe that will potentially avert us from disaster. Maybe that's why we've always averted from disasters, because in moments of crisis, we get deeper in touch with ourselves and we try to figure out ourselves in the grand scheme of things. And for a moment, we actually kind of click into like a cosmic energy like of togetherness where we kind of figure it out and we avert disaster. And maybe over time we end up losing that energy again, and we build it up and we get this again where conflicts arise again. But maybe that's just it. We just have to figure it out and spiritually realign ourselves.
What else? What else is happening in terms of politics, international politics?
What else is happening in Paul? Come on, I'm trying to start a cult here. What else is happening? Gulf of Oman, ships on fire near Strait of Hormuz amid Israel-Iran conflict. U.S. citizen killed in Russian strikes. We talked about that. China tells citizens get out of there. Russia attacks Kiev with waves of drones. Over half of North Korean troops fighting in Kursk killed or injured, report says. So, you know, I guess our idea of like going in and taking them out with paintball guns, like the North Koreans, that potentially was actually a really good idea because it seems like they're not doing too well.
It's time.
It's time. Let's go and take out North Korea with paintballs. UN rights chief urges governments to wake up to horrifying suffering in Gaza. This is the worst time to mention that, buddy. I'm gonna real quick explain what I mean by that. I mean like we are concerned about Gaza, but like we're potentially in a nuclear war over this entire conflict. So it's like at this point, let's concern ourselves with the greater world and try to, ramp down this conflict. But like this, what I'm saying is this guy just needs to read the room. Is all I'm saying. Like
Yeah, I
he's
think
saying,
you need to read the room.
yeah, I need to read the room. Hey,
I
I'm
think you need to read the room.
I'm with everything. Trump wants to turn Palestine into a freedom zone. That's what we want to happen, right? We want it to be a freedom zone.
Time to go back to bringing freedom to the Middle East.
F-16 fighters. That's how you bring freedom. Russian government IL-96 flying into North Korea 3 hours ago. That's not really news or anything. It's just on flight radar. Um, what is Reddit hiding from us? What is that all about? Real quick to finish off this, let's talk about the anonymous thing. We'll dive into that in a second, but let's talk about the anonymous thing and then this tweet that Trump put out like 6 hours ago. This is what Trump said. Iran should have signed the deal. Quote, I told them to sign. What a shame and waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. What do we think of that?
He's threatening Tehran?
That is basically saying that, yeah, everyone should evacuate because some crazy shit's going to go down in Tehran. And if you look at pictures of Tehran, it literally looks like LA during like rush hour when everything is like jam packed, like everyone's leaving the city. So we'll see what happens. We might wake up to some crazy shit. People might even hear this when the shit's already gone down. Honestly, I'm gonna start editing this as soon as possible. But this might. We might see some crazy shit tomorrow. Today's the 17th, or sorry, today's the 16th. We might see some crazy shit the 17th. One can only imagine. The next 2 days are going to be pretty wild. But yeah, that's crazy shit, going down. Like, this is literally just crazy. Who knows what's going to happen? It's wild. All right, so let's talk about that. What is Reddit hiding from us? And yeah, it just shows an island. It's just grayed out completely. And it shows a bunch of redacted answers, I guess. But it could be the tag says serious answers only. And somebody probably said, I would guess the deleted comments were not serious answers. And then somebody goes, I've never seen a Reddit thread descend into nonsense before. That was good. Yeah, people are saying it's really not much of anything, probably. And you probably don't have to worry about
Yeah. Shut up and be quiet.
it. What else do we got? Let's check out high strangeness real quick. So here's an interesting one given what we read earlier. Physicists have no idea what dark matter is. It is mysterious and impossible to detect. Now physicists think that dark matter might not exist at all, and that the effects it is meant to explain are better made sense by other phenomena. Wow. Did you hear about the pelicans falling from the sky?
No.
So like there was like a huge group of pelicans
Sounds like
that
the
just
start of a joke.
it does sound like the start of it. So, did you hear the one about the pelicans falling from the sky? I can't think of a thing to complete that, honestly. But basically what happened was there was a group of pelicans that were like outside just dead all over a neighborhood, and like police chalked it up to like lightning striking like the like a nearby tree, and the birds like just all dying from the tree. But if you like look at the video of the birds and the like the pictures of it, there's like not really a tree right there. It's like all out in the open. It's just really odd.
It'd be like poison bird food. Somebody poisoned a bunch of
Maybe.
pelicans.
I don't know. Whenever I hear of like a group of birds dying, I almost my mind automatically like goes to like bird flu and shit like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that they all died at once is just really crazy. You know what I mean? Like just all in a group like that, that's nuts. Has anyone read the ECAS UAP thread? Not military, not aliens. UAPs are terrestrial, just not ours in the way you think. Earth isn't just a planet, it's a system running its own evolutionary process. We're part of it, but not the objective. There's a structure deep in the Atlantic inside the Bermuda Triangle. It wasn't built by us. It formed through the planet itself. The materials aren't entirely extraterrestrial, some are, but they're not standard geology either. Think of it like a technological organ, a planetary white blood cell formed over a longitudinal horizon. See, this is the kind of stuff where I almost don't like I know. I want to believe it, but it seems so like out there.
You want to believe?
Yeah, I want to believe, like the t-shirt that I'm currently wearing and the spiral glasses too I have on my face. Look deep into my spiral glasses and you'll see the truth that I want to believe. Well, I shouldn't just end it like that. I do believe. I'm saying when it comes to the planet being a living organism, I believe that's true in a perspective from a certain point of view, but I don't know. If there is like a construction facility under the Atlantic Ocean, like a lot of people have described, I think it was put there by aliens. I don't think it was the Earth naturally forming some kind of white blood cells. I think the Earth for, you know what I think? I think, well, would you say?
I just, you know what I think?
Oh, I'm gonna
Hit me
go
with
off
it.
right now.
Yeah, hit me with it.
I think when a lot of people, if we're talking about like all this like new age perspective that the earth is a living organism, like a lot of people believe, and I think that could be the case. But you know how like a lot of people believe that? I think we are the white blood cells. I don't think this object in the Atlantic Ocean or whatever people are talking about is the white blood cells. I think we're the white blood cells. And I think we as people, like, I think we can both help the planet and create a better planet, and I think a lot of the living creatures on the planet were supposed to be the white blood cells, so to speak. Like every living creature that like continues to make the planet grow in extraordinary ways and push towards like a greater destiny and just thrive, that right there is the white blood cell of the planet. It's it's the cycle of life. It's the circle of life. It's everything that should be and would be happening if humans weren't around, or if they even were around, they just treated the planet in a better way.
We're not the cancer, then what is?
I think we are the cancer, but we're also the white blood cells, because I think that we control the body in a sense that, isn't it true that like a body could try to fight a virus so much that it basically shuts down the body because it's utilizing too much of itself to fight itself. I think
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. I think that's what's happening with the planet. I think we could save the planet and I think we could make the planet like a better place, but I think we just we do all this stupid shit to, to obstruct it and to not further ourselves and the planet.